All right. Hey guys, good evening. Apologies for the delay and a lot going on this week, but good to see you. I hope you guys had a good weekend and happy Tuesday. So let's go ahead and open up the chat, see how you're doing there, and we'll jump right into it because I want to make sure we get caught up. So yeah, apologies there, guys, on the delay. It has been a bit of a busy week. Obviously, due to planning, funeral services, and then everything else in between. So there is definitely a lot going on. And so today, you have my undivided attention now. We're just making a couple of transitions here at the house. So I appreciate that. So hopefully you guys are doing well. And how are you guys doing this evening? Is everyone doing good? How's our weekend going? Take a moment to kind of type in the chat there. And while we're doing that, let me kind of turn on a few sounds and then we'll get you going there. And then we'll get you rocking and rolling. So I'm glad you're doing good. Yeah, it's been pretty busy, I would say. The college is kind of finalizing the the fall schedule, and kind of finalizing what those classes are going to look like and getting ready to put that online. They're also talking about whether or not fall is going to be in person or online. So there's a lot going on around the college this week in terms of decisions and where things are going to go. So we're having definitely a lot of conversations in the background. And so they're kind of letting us know, but there is like a task force that's involved in those decisions. So there might be a slight chance that come this fall, we might be back into the campus under certain circumstances. I can't confirm it because they haven't really verified anything. And of course that could all change if there's a surge and infection. So that all could, how did I put it? I always just look at the data. Even though everyone is going this way, at this point, I've learned to kind of think in terms of scenarios, and I look at probabilities. So when people start telling me certain things like, well, it could be this or it could be that, then I just say, well, what does the data say about that? And what are those probabilities, and what does that necessarily look like in terms of the actual probability of that happening? So I always look at it from that point of view, and we'll see. So that's sort of how I look at it. So we'll keep our fingers crossed. Obviously, we hope that things will kind of go back to the new normal. So we'll see how it all kind of plays out in the long run, right? So that's that situation going on. And then in terms of announcements, we just finalized, or at least the date that I shot out for Farm Design or Aaron Atchison to come and talk to us was set up for this Thursday. So for those of us that might not know, and let me go ahead and see if I can open up the visual for that. Farm Design and my packaging designers, you guys, we've talked about this before, but Aaron Atchison is going to be, has confirmed that he wants to join us. And I had the file here. Here we go. And he was saying that, hey, let's set that up. And let me go ahead and switch over so I can show it to you, because I want to, where did it go? Here we go. Sorry, every time I think I know Zoom, I don't know Zoom. So it's kind of like it goes from one thing to the other. So Aaron Atchison is the founder and I guess creative director of Farm Design. And we were just saying that Farm Design is a well-respected packaging design, branding and packaging design firm, but they have a lot of experience in a lot of different areas. They just happen to focus on food packaging or branding for food product. And actually, it's not next week. It's this Thursday, and I've met Aaron almost like over 10 years ago, man. And we were doing a talk at Cal State Northridge, and I guess when you're in the sort of the graphic design world, everyone kind of roams in the same circles a little bit, or in the same stomping grounds. We all kind of know everyone in certain areas. And Cal State Northridge was kind of like a spot, or like kind of like a sort of like a underdog of a school back in the early 2000s for design, and now it's pretty respected. Cal State Long Beach, Cal State Fullerton, these were like respected institutions when it comes to the area of graphic design. But at the time, the college was making a name for itself, mainly because after the Northridge quake, it destroyed the art building. So there was a little bit of like this underdog feel, like, when we get our building, we're gonna really shine. And basically I think like the last department that got the new building was the arts. And when we did, it was great. And I think I got to enjoy that new facility for about a year and a half, I would say, when it opened. But I remember being in bungalows, when we had bungalows for like 2.5 years in my time on the college. And then Aaron came along, I graduated, and then I kept in touch with the dean because I was the president of the graphic communications club there at the time. And we did like a portfolio review that I led for a year. And I graduated, and then I was invited back to talk about my experience about 2-3 years in the field. And I spoke, and Aaron spoke, and I met Aaron, and he was nice enough to kind of talk about his experience and share some of his insights. And then I got to hear a little bit about him, and we just kind of hit it off. And he's a really cool guy. And I think we did another event not long after that. But what's kind of interesting is that he actually had like a kind of like a change of heart during the 2008 recession. So when the housing market collapsed and the recession happened back in 2008, his whole life changed. He realized he didn't want to be like this top hotshot, designer trying to be super corporate. He basically just wanted a much simpler life, and he basically started over again. Because the clientele, all his clients went away. When you do sports related materials and you hit a recession, nobody's playing sports, right? Everyone's sort of surviving, as it were. And so he, when he kind of restarted again, he went towards packaging. And I suppose this is probably what you call maybe an area that's recession proof. I saw it at Disney too during the recession. The only department that made money during the recession was the food team, or the food department, because whether rain or shine, or recession or prosperity, people got to eat no matter what. So that kind of opened his eyes, and he'll tell you the story. But long story short, he made some award-winning work and has been recognized in a lot of highly respectable companies. He's done a few interviews here and there, limited stuff, but it's been really good. Adobe has interviewed him at least 2 or 3 times. The Future, Chris Do and Aaron are actually good buddies. And even Chris Do at The Future inspired Aaron to start up his own YouTube page called Do Good Work, which is actually what our packaging design class is kind of revolving around. We're learning a lot from that process. So I'm going to definitely share with Aaron, like, your whole process is really how we're sort of formulating our class. And so I definitely want to ask him a few questions in that regard. But he's going to come and he's going to talk to you guys starting at 7 o'clock. So basically like this time slot from 7 to about 8:30. And I just said, here's who our students are, and bring whatever you think you want to share with them. That's it. I kind of told it, like, I trust your instincts. Whatever you feel you want to share with like a first, our first year returning students, transfer students, slash, students that are brushing up on their skills and want to get back into the field and do some interesting things in their designs. Like, these are the students that I serve, and whatever you want to do, go ahead and bring it. And he's like, cool. So, yeah, so I sent him that email yesterday. He confirmed it on last week on Thursday for the async day. So keeping our fingers crossed that nothing comes up that changes that schedule, but he's definitely going to join us, and I'm excited. So that's going to be some really cool stuff. You bought some mochi yesterday, Brad. Okay. You can let him know that on Thursday. So for sure. So yeah, so that's going to be really great. So definitely have your questions ready, guys. No question is too dumb. No question is too small, and really nice guy. And I just, I really trust his instincts. He's an awesome designer, as you can see. And I have a huge amount of respect because he's definitely made it work, and he's willing to come on a Thursday night to talk to you. So that's awesome. And I haven't spoken to him in a few years. So I was kind of thinking he may be 50-50 or be too busy, but he was like, yeah, I remember you, man. Yeah, I'll join your class for sure. So that's great. So that's awesome. So we have that happening on Thursday. Okay. But how did you guys do last Thursday on the designs? Did we get a chance to kind of put in some independent time on Thursday? Thank you guys, obviously, for allowing me to do that too. We definitely needed some of that time to be with family and get things situated for the coming week. So appreciate that. And but hopefully we got to use that time to kind of develop some of your artwork and get that going as well. So if you made some progress, you can give me a little thumbs up emoji, and that would be super helpful. And then we can kind of get you going there. Okay. Okay. Awesome. Very cool. Okay. So here's what we'll do. This is going to be the game plan for tonight. Definitely going to be pushing to kind of catch up on our time. So this evening for our packaging design team, and this is actually for digital illustration, but packaging designers, I'm going to open up the page and we're going to get a chance to kind of see some of your Frankensteins or compositional layouts. So it's not on my screen here, obviously. This is for our other class, but we were working on some Frankensteins. So that's basically just a fun word for rough compositions on your packaging designs. And if I switch over to my interface here, we were trying to develop some of your designs for rough compositions just to test the artwork and see where the opportunities and the limitations are. So definitely want to make sure we get to see a little bit of that. And that's going to be under not phase 2 creative discovery. Let's take a look here. But we're looking at emulating your packaging illustration style. So we'll definitely get some time to share that this evening and take a look at some of your designs. So we're designing the rough compositions of your conceptual directions and see where the opportunities are, limitations, and any type of questions that you might have, okay? So we're already in the Illustrator mode and we're already building those graphics and sharing and getting those situated. I would love for packaging design to join digital illustration, and hopefully maybe we can kind of do like a showcase or presentation where you guys are talking about some of your graphics while like digital illustration gets to see a little bit of that and understand that world. So hopefully we can kind of do like a all class critique when I feel like it's kind of presentable, some of the artwork. So that would be kind of cool. Now that the digital illustration, we're kind of going into the Mickey Mouse t-shirt design, and we're building like the really high end artwork. So, and building production ready t-shirt design. So we're moving into that. So hopefully we can kind of cross worlds and share with the class everything that we have going on. So that's kind of a sort of a future focus that I have there. That being said, let me go ahead and open up the breakout room so that you guys can kind of finalize any designs, get some things situated, and definitely build it out from there. So let me go ahead and get that ready for you guys. And then Amy, I'll push you over there as well. So that way we got everybody in there. And I'm also going to create a one-on-one room just to be on the safe side and get you going there. And then we'll get you situated. So, oh, no. There we go. Okay. And in terms of time, 9, and that's 1:20 right there. And we'll go ahead and open that up. So packaging designers, we'll see there in just a few. Okay, and for rest of the class, we'll start talking a little bit about the t-shirt designs and see where we are with you guys. And we'll get that ready for you in just a few moments and get that going. It's kind of nice to kind of be a little bit back into the swing of things, as it were, because it's been very hectic the last couple of weeks, to say the least, as some of you have already kind of experienced from what I'm seeing. So we're slowly getting situated. Okay, so abstract facial designs. Oh, one last announcement too. In terms of grading, definitely getting caught up. I'm very behind on my grading. So tomorrow, we have an async day, which is basically on the day class. I'll be catching up on a lot of the posts. So if you haven't seen any grades or scores updated, they'll be coming in tomorrow. So then that way you will see where we are over on the class. Basically, if you're uploading assignments and you've turned them in, you should be in good standing. If you're missing some points here and there, definitely work on the discussion posts. Those discussion posts are an easy set of points there. They're like 10 points per discussion post. Definitely take an opportunity to kind of look at that and complete those. And like I always say, you can get caught up in the class very, very quickly because these exercises are designed to be a little bit lengthy, but that really is just to kind of strengthen your technique. Once you get your technique down, everything kind of runs a little bit faster. So it's more about depth in terms of like breadth, even though the projects do go deeper conceptually or in theory. The technique still is the same, if that makes sense. So we'll be looking at that a little bit deeper. Okay. So let's talk about the abstract face exercise. How many of you guys have already completed this exercise, just out of curiosity? And if you maybe give me a little thumbs up emoji if you already have that set. Kind of want to see how it came out for you guys. If they're looking pretty complete there. Okay, great. That's good. We'll be sharing that tonight. So we'll be taking a look at some of your designs there. So I'll probably be posting that up within about an hour. So we'll be looking at that and we'll get you set up. So just kind of forewarning you there. So we'll see your designs and we'll put them up on like a Google form and take a look at them. And then we'll put up the assignment posts as well. If I haven't done so already, I believe it's already there, but if it's not, then we'll get it loaded and we'll share some of the designs. I'll verify that in about 45 minutes to an hour. And then we'll be looking at the Mickey graphic and kind of getting that going, okay? So let's take a look at some of the Mickey Mouse graphics and let's take a peek at what's going on with the advanced pen tool. So the advanced pen tool exercise is essentially the next level when it comes to building production ready art. So like I was saying last week on Tuesday, when at the Walt Disney Company, we have a group of fine artists that would literally draw on paper with pencil different poses that the teams across the different businesses would need for whatever project they're working on. So if I'm building like a food package and I want a specific pose of a character, and it doesn't exist, rather than me draw it from scratch, we have a a highly trained team that they themselves have been trained from the original artists of the films. So the sort of like the designated lead artist or drawer that has been trained by, you know, one of the original 9 old men that drew Mickey in the 1950s or 60s. This person would basically train a whole team underneath him or her how to draw this character, right? And only this like founding leader or artist or lead artist can give you that team like the go ahead to basically recreate the same character. So that's kind of how it works. They basically train under the best, and then this team would basically be designated to the different departments, and they would basically say, okay, you guys graduated from, you know, the Disney University of Illustration or hand drawing, fine art. You guys are going to now basically draw for all the other departments. You know everything you need to know from a classical point of view of how to draw these characters. Move forward. And it's very true, because I knew someone, I had a friend of a friend who basically got hired by Disney after high school to do this specific type of work, which was like crazy. So this person was so talented that I think they tried out for like Disney University or something like that, and then they basically hired him after high school to kind of start drawing these characters and everything. And so he learned from that, and that was the team. But anyway, but essentially that's kind of how it worked. And these characters are now being recreated. So artist draws it. Designers like yourselves would basically come in and redraw and get the files production ready. Those productions go into books called style guides. They're literally like books on how to use the art and the characters and how to combine them and apply them in ways that are meaningful and authentic to the story or to the character. So you never mix worlds, right? Mickey doesn't hang out with Ariel. They never, you know, Pluto doesn't hang out with, you know, these other characters from these other films or other times. They stay in their own worlds, so to speak. Although we've broken a couple of rules with certain leaderships, like princesses all hang out together apparently. But once upon a time, you couldn't even do that. But these worlds never cross-pollinate with each other often. But when they do so with a super intent behind it. Like they're never like invading each other's universes. They're kind of like going into like this alternate universe, it almost seems like. And then they kind of build off of that. In the Little Mermaid movie? Okay. Then you gotta show me that then, because Mickey, Goofy, and Donald appeared in the Little Mermaid movie. Okay. If they were there, I don't remember that, but if they did, then I wonder if they were hidden. But normally, these worlds don't typically like cross often. So that's kind of how, and they were crouched on a fraction of a second. Oh, fraction of a second. Okay. So it was an Easter egg. Okay. So if it was an Easter egg, that's a little different versus like an actual interaction, very different, I would say. But alternate universe with different teams. Two? Yeah. And those two, and it was always that alternate universe that kind of built it, right? So they never invaded each other's worlds. It was always like, we're going to hang out in this alternate kind of world, as it were. So that's kind of how they operate a little bit from what my training kind of instilled. So when we create the artwork, let's talk a little bit about how that process goes. But basically, when it comes to creating the artwork, we always want to create the artwork according to a specific template. And so the first part of this exercise is basically just knowing how to recreate the Mickey character. And out of curiosity, did anyone get a chance to complete their Mickey by any chance? And maybe with a little thumb there. Okay, cool. We'll get a little file ready for you there. Okay. And that is awesome. And if not, don't worry. This is new to everybody. How about black base? Did anyone get as far as creating their black base of Mickey? So literally this one right here. Did anyone get a chance to complete at least that as a first layer? If not, that's cool, but I'm just curious to kind of see if anyone got a chance to get that point. And if you did, maybe a little thumbs up emoji. I know we have one complete, so. Okay, how many guys started? And Jesus, you say you got stuck on that? Anyone got stuck on this first part of the black template? I know we got one. Okay, so we do have a couple of folks there. Okay, so then couldn't get it out of the image. Okay, let's talk about that. So I was lost, couldn't get it out of the image, and let's see how we built it up. Okay, so let's jump in on it. So if I go to outline mode, the kind of the thinking behind this is that it's all about trying to use as less points as possible, but treating every curve like a big curve. So the smallest curves are kind of being created as if they were the big curves, if that makes sense. So if I had to kind of go back to our, I think it's going to be pen tool exercise part 4. So if I went back to basic shapes and complicated shapes, guys, I kind of would treat Mickey like he did drawing the hand. So if you recall, right, when we draw the basic shape, right, normally it's kind of like, you know, what is the topmost point, and really we want to make sure that we have like a fill of none and a outline color of, it could be black, it could be red. I kind of like using red because it just kind of contrasts from everything else. And I literally drop a point, click, hold, pull, and go back and kill that handle. Now that's treating like a big curve very simply, right? And then I kind of say to myself, well, where does this curve finish? So I always start from like the top. I always go to like the furthest point on the, you know, on the left or on the right of that curve where it finishes, and then like the southernmost point, as it were. So I always look at like top, like north, south, east, west of that shape to see where I land, right? And I try to go as far as I can, click, hold the click and pull, and then delete that handle, and then kind of start over by once I delete that handle, right? And I'm always going back and kind of deleting that handle, as it were. So, and then I'll just kind of like close the shape, go back, and then I'll close that shape, right? So that's kind of like the basic shape, right? That's about 3, 4, 5, 6 points. Now, when I go to my complicated hand, right, I have all these little curves here, right? And I treat those little curves like big ones. And so what's the easiest way to treat a curve like a big curve? Well, I zoom in, right? So I literally just go, you know, Command plus or Alt Option, zoom in, zoom out. And when I zoom in, I see lots of, in my opinion, they're like big curves, but I see a lot of big curves, right? When you have it zoomed in, they look like big curves, so it takes a little bit, it takes away the, it takes away a little bit of that, not confusion or nerves, but it just kind of eases the load of the complexity of it, right? Most images are just a lot of little simple curves combined into one. So there's a lot of basic curves happening in complicated shapes, if that makes sense. And so what I normally do is that I zoom in and I just basically say, okay, as I'm zooming in, where do I want to start? Well, I always start from the top. You can start anywhere, but I always like to just start top and work my way down, left or right, depending on, you know, how I feel. And I basically just start from the top and of a certain form, and then I just click, hold the click, pull, and I just ask myself, where does that kind of curve finish? And to me, it sort of finishes like right about there. And even though that's a small fraction of a curve, it still sort of finishes there for the most part. And then I just say, okay, after I delete the handle, I'm just going to say, okay, this curve finishes like about here. And I'm going to click, hold, pull, kill that handle. And I'm just treating all these little curves like big curves, right? Is it time consuming? For sure. Does it look accurate when I take the time? Absolutely. But do I have to kind of think about where things land? For sure. Because you're kind of learning how to think, not so much in terms of outlines, but in terms of layers, if that makes sense. So that is sort of the first part, like treating every curve, every little curve like this big curve, but there's many of them, is like the first part. So going back to the Mickey illustration. Okay, here we go. Oh, Mickey, where'd you go? Here you go. All right. I should be playing Disney music. That's what I should be doing right now. To do that for next time. But they might actually copyright me on YouTube, so that's helpful. That's okay. So the idea here is that anytime I see anything that looks like it has an outline, right? Any character that looks like it has any type of outline whatsoever, in this situation, I'm always going to imagine that the black outline is really a black solid shape hiding at the very bottom of these cutouts over it, if that makes sense. And you really have to kind of like focus your mind or sort of trick yourself into thinking that these are all just closed vector objects over one big solid black outline or whatever the color of the character is, if that makes sense. If I were to show you, I wonder if I have access to that. I'll hold off on it, actually. I want to show you there because I have a whole library of Mickey from Disney that I kept, so you can see some of the variations of it. But basically what I do is that I just treat that outline as if it was a body in and of itself. And I literally am just gonna go around and click, hold, pull, stop, delete that handle, and basically treat every shape or every curve like a complicated curve, right? I'm asking myself, where do these curves finish? I like to kind of stop at the top, so north, east, west, as I was saying. And I just like to take it to as far as I can without having to go past the Mickey's outline. And then zoom in, okay? Go back, delete the handle, okay? Click, pull, delete. And to me, these are all like little curves, right? Sometimes I might go past a certain curve to see if I can like make it without having to like put that many points. Sometimes that's okay to kind of test your boundaries a little bit and see how far you can go. And sometimes you might have to use your space bar to kind of grab the hand and panhandle it from left to right. So that's okay, right? And kind of build off of that. So it's all about just getting those little curves and treating them like those complicated shapes, or or treating it like a complicated shape, right? To me, in my eyes, these are just a lot of basic curves. I just have to make sure that I'm zooming in and out to kind of gauge the black outline. Sometimes people like to kind of go in a little bit and like go around, but the problem is that eventually you're gonna get to a point you're gonna be like a maze almost. Like, where does it stop? I just stay to the outside. completely. Like I don't even go inside of anything unless it's absolutely necessary. I've really kind of try to stick to the outside as much as I possibly can to create these characters, right? So the more I stay to the outside for that first black shape, the safer it's going to be to set it up. So because all these illustrations really are essentially they're illusions, right? Sometimes some curves can push the limit. Sometimes I can go a little bit past certain points and kind of set it up. Other times I have to kind of be a little bit careful and try to match as close as I possibly can and try to go as far as I can without stopping. And then go back, kill that handle. And sometimes I might even make a mistake as well. And I can actually go back and undo something. And to undo, if you go to your edit menu and go edit undo, or more specifically undo pen, you could technically go back or command Z like zebra, or it's control Z like zebra for PC. You can go back a point or two to fix anything that you may have done. So if you've done something like this and you're like, oh man, that's really off, you can do Command Z on a Mac for the Mac computer, or Control Z, and then you go back and it's if it's never happened. So don't feel like pressure to get it perfect. Everything can always be fixed. And so we'll be having that opportunity. And yes, Chris, you're going to create your own, well, these shapes are going to redraw over the base. So every shape here is going to be traced over and rebuilt overall, okay? So if I had to kind of break down how things are going to look in terms of how the items are pieced together, I'll probably have to kind of break down each layer there. You could technically and if I had to like zoom in on some of the pieces here, like the shorts are literally its own closed vector object. So like this is what the shorts would look like on its own. They don't look like shorts, but remember, you're only tracing the shape and they all sort of come together to create the illusion. So you almost have to kind of tell your brain, like, I'm not looking at shorts, I'm looking at a red organic form that is creating an illusion of shorts. But my brain is always saying, this is an organic shape that I'm drawing that'll add up to Mickey. So kind of removing the character from your mind is going to be a big one, because if you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm drawing Mickey, then you're going to kind of like try to keep everything in one piece. And that's really not the way you want to look at it. You want to look at things as abstract, organic shapes that you're tracing. Does that kind of make sense? The more you can kind of disconnect from the character and as you're tracing the shapes, a little bit better you'll be. You know what the end result's going to be, but and there are some things that will look like Mickey, but I mean, this is an organic shape and this is one closed vector object, right? Definitely doesn't look like a mouse, but it is an organic shape that happens to look like a mouse. So as we're tracing, think about it as more like organic shapes, okay? And then go from there, okay? Does that kind of help a little bit, get a little bit of clarification for those folks that were getting a little bit stuck? And if it's, okay. So here's what we'll do. Let's take a look here. I'm gonna literally take some time to draw these characters and kind of get it on the recording, if that helps. And so I'm gonna get that going for you guys. I'm gonna meet up with the packaging design class for a few minutes and kind of give them some input. Are we okay with taking a break at about 8:15? Is that okay with everybody? We'll take like a quick 5-10 minute break at 8:15 so we can get a little bit of drawing time in. And then we'll get back and we'll kind of look at some of your designs and your shapes and kind of return to the t-shirt design. Eventually where we're going to go is that we're going to make a t-shirt out of this Mickey drawing. However, I have been known to okay you guys to draw other Mickey characters, so long as we can kind of get through the first one. I want to just be able to confirm that you can draw like one drawing according to the format of like organic or abstract closed vector shapes. And then once you get that first one down, then everything else is really easy. And just like a final word of encouragement, once you get this down, guys, then you can literally trace anything on the internet, like pure and simple. Like some things take different times, like how long it takes is different, but it's the same technique all throughout. So once you do this Mickey character successfully, you'll basically be set for tracing anything, and you've kind of will be in a good place on using the pen tool, because this is the same technique I use for Photoshop. When I'm editing images, it's the same technique that I use for everything related to the pen tool. So you're pretty much one step closer to like getting this tool down pretty well. And most students don't even graduate with this level of like understanding of the tool. I would say I did not when I graduated. I had to learn this professionally, and I was like, if I can get high school students to draw like this, then anyone can draw like this, right? You just have to like know how to scaffold it to your audience. Okay, so that's gonna be their plan. So 8:15, we will take a break. We'll take about 30 minutes to draw that black outline. Okay, and we'll set that in there. What I'll do is also, I'm gonna put in the black outline. I'm gonna see if I can actually like take a quick screenshot of this too. So then that way you guys have a little bit of a reference while I'm talking to our packaging team. There we go. So I put in the screenshot here, and that will be that picture. If you click onto it, that'll be kind of your guide. Okay, hopefully that helps. And you can see like, okay, where did Almina like land these points? Hopefully that'll help you, and let that be kind of like a map. And if you take that picture, drag it onto your desktop. Oh, here's a little tip for you. There's a pro tip here. So that picture that I put in the chat, if you drag that file to your desktop, and then take that same file from your desktop and click onto it. If you hold the click, and I want to make sure I get the right setup for it. Where did you go, my lovely screenshot? Aha. Oh, it landed there. That's probably why I clicked open. If you save that picture onto your desktop and then hold the click and drag it into your interface, you could technically attach and drop pictures into your file. And what's cool about this is that you can actually like trace and kind of see the design side by side. There, so that's called embedding the image. And you could technically drag JPEGs, photos, screenshots into your file. We won't save it as that. It's only like a temporary filler, but you can literally drag it in and kind of see your illustrations side by side. So hopefully that's encouraging, and that'll help you guys get a little bit more of a quicker flow so that you're not looking or switching back and forth between one program to the other. It's a lot easier just to drag the image into the file to make it work. So hopefully that helps you guys as well. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll do that base there. I'm gonna check in with packaging design. I'll switch back and we'll take a break, and then we'll look at drawings and see how everyone's doing that illustration, and then kind of building it from there. Okay. All right. Wonderful. All right, guys. I shall return, and then we'll come back in about 30. Okay. Okay, and I'm getting a couple of quick direct messages as well. Location of file. If you are looking for this file, it is on Canvas, and it is in the T-shirt post. So the latest activity for T-shirts. Let me go ahead and direct you towards that. So if you're looking for this specific file, I'll actually put it in the chat just to make life a little easier. Under activity Disney theme shirt design for week 9 and 10. Really big red bold letters, advanced pen tool exercise. Click onto that. And you'll see it right here for download. And you can click and upload it. So, so if you're looking for that file too, you can retrieve it from there, and hopefully that helps you get that going. And I'll also post it in there for you, Liz, so then that way you can take a peek at it and you can just click and download it right away. So hopefully that helps. All right, very cool. Sounds good. That's no worries. Okay, guys, so I shall return and we will see you in just a few. All right, happy tracing. All right, hey guys, back again. Moving quickly across the classes. Definitely a lot of really good content going back and forth overall. So just wanted to check in and see how our designs are looking. So let's start off with the Mickey really quick. Has anyone been able to complete the black base successfully and kind of close those shapes? Okay. Okay, so a couple of us. Great, wonderful. Okay, great. How many of us are like almost done in that process? Or okay, we have more folks that are completed. Great. Okay. How many guys are still kind of working on that black outer base of the Mickey graphic? Or just still working on the outer, just the base in and of itself? Okay, so we have a few folks that are kind of working on that. Okay, and anyone onto like a accessory like a glove or shorts or shoes and are working on those right now? Or any one of those items right now? Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, great. So then I think, yeah, I don't want to lose the momentum on the Mickey graphic. So here's what we'll do. For the faces exercise, for the actual faces abstract, we will upload those to the Canvas page. So, and then we'll share it through Canvas, those designs and how things were working. And then overall, how many guys were very like satisfied with the way the faces came out, or you feeling pretty good about the abstract complicated shapes, and you felt pretty good what you created out of that? It's like, okay, that was cool. Kind of got a little bit of a feel for it and everything of that sort. Okay, so far so good with that. Okay, again, if you're not feeling, if it's not 100%, it's a first run, so we'll kind of build it. What I do want to do is really see where the Mickey's going, and see where those are coming along. So I'm going to create a quick form, and as a matter of fact, what we could do, because we can upload it or just kind of put it in chat. I'll create a form and then we can upload it. I want to see overall how the overall what the class is looking and how they're doing. So we'll kind of put it all together and we'll do like a quick assessment to see how the artwork's going. So we'll do kind of like a group create there. So let me go ahead and build that really quick. And I want to make sure that the basic complicated shape faces Disney shirt. Okay. Yeah, that'll definitely work. That'll be more like an assessment, if anything. Okay, perfect. So Mickey, we'll put the greater priority onto the Mickey shirt, and we'll see what those designs are looking. Okay, I'll create a quick form right now, so then that way we can kind of see how you're doing. It's kind of like the tab. So let's see. Padlet. We'll go back to my Padlet and then build it up from there. Okay. So we'll definitely get a Padlet going so we can see how everyone is doing. Pure Gray Cat 1, pixel art. Okay, we'll use this one. Wait, 7.2. And underscore check-in. And we'll try to get that sign there. Okay. And and that's okay. And save and first, last, close. And we're going to share that link, copy link to clipboard. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put on a Padlet here so we can see how your outlines are going and get a little bit of feedback for you guys. So, nope, that's not the right screen. I want to make sure I want my Google Chrome, highlight, share. Beautiful. Okay. And what we'll do is that we're going to put that in the chat. I'm going to put in the chat a quick check-in and see where that's looking. And here we go. So Mickey pen tool progress. Okay, so here it is on the chat. And kind of like what we did with the complicated shape, let's go ahead and take a moment to screenshot your design. So hopefully it's close enough so we can see a little bit of the outlining and just to kind of see where all the progress is going. So close enough so I can see the curvatures, not too far that it's not be made out. So wherever that stage is, you can zoom in a little bit more. But we want to see how that outline's coming or how your elements are coming. And when you upload, just go ahead and enter your name onto it so that we can kind of see. So, so first, last name, and then definitely upload that image of the Mickey graphic just to kind of see how things are looking overall. Okay, so we'll take a moment to kind of do that and see how you're doing there. Okay. Okay. And then start giving you guys some thumbs up to kind of see how that's going. And these are looking pretty good so far. So we can see where you're at. And then if you could enter your name, that'd be great. So then that way we can kind of see where you're doing. Definitely drinking a lot of water today with all the communication happening. Okay, I'll give you guys a few moments there to kind of upload those. And you can definitely heart each other. It's all positive overall, okay? I think this one is definitely the one I'm gonna take a closer look on and just making sure that the outline is coming in as clean as possible. Okay, so these are looking pretty good. So Francesca's looking good. Great, and then Dre too. So far, so good. On there, okay. A lot of activity going on in here. And then we'll kind of take a moment there to kind of set up your files, okay? So we'll take a couple seconds there. also, guys, it does not have to be complete. It could be the black outline. So if it's complete, great. But if you have just like a fraction of it, black outline, or at a basic, that's okay too. I'll still be able to see what the outline will look like and determine like quality of line art based off the black outline. It all kind of stems from that black outline, to be honest. Okay, so far so good, guys. I'm feeling really good about it. Uh, so definitely, yeah, this is feeling pretty good. So Emily looking good, looking pretty solid, and Ellie looking good too. Yeah, I could tell from the curvatures, not too many nicks happening here and there. So off to a good start. Right, and then Jess, yeah, again, yeah, the lips can be here and there, but not bad too. You guys are coming in pretty strong, guys. Look at you guys. You guys are coming in nice. Right on, Jordan. Like the tail, points are feeling pretty good. Check you guys out. Cool. Dre looking good too. Yeah, it's all in the eyes. Like at the end of the day, I mean, honestly, it's if that face is looking as playful and as joyful as possible, and that's really what it's all about. You could technically get away with everything else, and you know, but as long as that face gets that extra attention and that little bit of that extra love and detailing, um, you know, everything else kind of falls a little bit to the wayside. You can actually get away with a little bit more on it, to like a general public person, right? If you're working with like an art director, for sure they're gonna look at everything, right? And that's like a little bit more towards like internships and everything of that sort. So yeah, I can't wait to see rest of the class there. Okay. Um, well done, guys. This is looking good. And I'm telling you, once you get this down, anything on the internet is open for drawing. Like you can redraw or draw or edit anything after this exercise. Like it's really just a question of keeping up to the technique and practice, so that the curvatures are as smooth and proportioned as possible, right? There. And if we had some time, if I really, really wanted to like take it a step further, like let's say if I ever was to teach a typography class, then what I would do is basically like after this exercise is you guys would literally like create your own font, and there's like a system of like how you could do that. And then basically when you create your font, you would like do the exact same thing. Like you put it down on paper, trace it like you would Mickey, and then make modifications to the font. Exact same process, right? You're the one added step is like you would basically be kind of like using a very light pencil to draw like a sculpture of a letter form. But I'm going ahead of myself. But if I were to teach typography, I even got that down, like how I would teach that. I should just open up like my own design school, to be honest. I should just do that and just keep it really practical. Let's take a look. Okay, and Elizabeth looking okay, looking good so far here. I see a little bit of the red outline. Yeah. So, let that line be the guide, and the good job completing the ear too. So that's looking good. That's just keep it up, and I would say the less points between those curves, the smoother it becomes. So it's just knowing when to pull to to the degree, if that makes sense. So sometimes just knowing how to hold the mouse and kind of move up and down a little bit and just get the right distance is okay. However, it's don't feel pressured. You can always edit using the direct selection tool. So we haven't even talked about how to clean up the art yet. We're just learning how to try to do as best of a job to trace it, so it takes less time to edit it afterwards, right? So it takes a little bit more time to trace it, but that extra time really saves you editing time towards fixing it, if that makes sense. So so there is a little bit of that balance. Okay, so if you're struggling a little bit, Elizabeth, I would say it's all in how, because Mickey's a little pixelated, I would try to get as close to the outline as possible, almost to the point that it's like you're almost on the inside of the black, right? And sometimes it's kind of like, is it the outside of the pixel or the inside of the pixel, Professor? Like, is it like the edge of the black where the squares are, or is it the inside? I would say try to go a little bit towards the inside, not so much the outside. Because if you trace towards the outside of the black pixel, right, then those white, the little bit of the white shows up, right? So I would say it's kind of like you're tracing a little bit on the inside of the black, if that makes sense. So because I've been there and that happened to me before too. So instead of like tracing like the edges where the white kind of shows up, I would say go towards like the inside of the square, almost like before the white begins, if that makes sense. So wherever white begins to show up, then the line kind of starts before the white. So kind of look at it not from like black black pixels on white background, try to see it as like the opposite, like, oh, there's white pixels coming in on the black, so I'm gonna make sure that the white doesn't, that I trace before the white pixel hits the black. Does that kind of make sense? So that way you stay away from the white as opposed to staying away from like keeping to the edge of the black, if that makes sense. So that, try that and you'll be like, oh, okay, that's actually a little bit maybe a lot easier. So cool. All right, that's great. So all right, let's take a look. So all right, guys, this is good. This is good. Okay. And again, if you're still working on it, don't worry. Okay. I would say definitely, bookmark that link. And then if you want to try to upload at a later point, that's okay too. I know we got about 10 minutes or so. So that's working pretty good. But overall, it looks like everyone's feeling pretty good so far. So so pretty good, and seeing how that goes. And then for those folks that haven't posted yet, are you guys doing okay? If you give me a little thumbs up emoji, is it kind of like, it feels like you guys are still kind of working on it a little bit, and you want to kind of get it down before we finish it up? Does that kind of feels like that a little bit? So, okay, so far so good. Okay, feeling good, guys. I am very pleased where you're going with that. Okay, very cool. Let's see. And here's what I'll also do too, really quick. I'm gonna do a quick check-in with a couple of folks in the private room, because I know packaging design is also doing their own presentation. I kind of want to check in with you guys, a couple of you guys, on a one-on-one. So let me go ahead and pull in a couple of folks first, so I can check in with you guys. And we'll leave a little bit of time before the end of class. So I'll do like a quick, like 5-minute check-in, and then we'll kind of keep it going there. So I'm gonna jump out. I'm gonna pull you guys into a private room really quick. So don't be surprised if I pull you in, but I just want to check in, say hi, and see how things are going. Because I feel like I want to get a little bit of one-on-one time with you guys and just see how you're doing. Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and set that up, and I'll be right back. All right, guys, give me a couple more seconds. I want to check in on packaging design, and I will be back in just a few moments as well. Okay, looks like my breakout room closed all of a sudden. So Vivian, is it okay if we kind of finish up the presentation there?
Yeah, sure.
And we'll see how it goes. So the digital illustration class, we were just in the breakout room, and this is a fun one to share. So basically, what we're doing in packaging design is that everyone selected a product that they're going to develop, and some of it is like a redesign of an existing like food product or makeup line, or creating a makeup line, or creating a packaging for it, something related to a consumer product, basically. And Vivian is working on it's sort of like a today makeup package. And so Vivian, can you kind of break down, maybe like in about a minute or so, like what is your product that you're sort of designing and the brand you're developing?
Yes, it was a perfume product that's supposed to have like 31, well, 30 or to 31 different scents of perfume that kind of define like that could match the mood of the day. That was the concept of the product that I'm creating.
And this is based off the samples of makeup. So like, where does the idea come from, or what did you kind of, what was like the genesis of the idea? Like, I remember you saying that it kind of starts from this idea, but you wanted to expand off of it.
Yeah, so it was basically started with me like because I personally really like perfume, but I don't really use a whole bottle of perfume like in like short amount of time. So I was thinking about creating something that's more like maybe you could just use the same scent for like once or twice, and then you could switch to something new. So it wouldn't be as you're not like you don't have like you have more choices than just like a limited one scent for like a long period of time. And then the set is kind of inspired by the sample like perfume sampler set that you could get from Sephora or like the other makeup store. But those ones they usually use like a small plastic bottles, but mine I'm going for something that's more eco-friendly. Using the idea of the like the packaging of the alcohol pap that you could like the nurse used before giving you like a shot that type. So it would be like paper, probably like paper or like other recyclable material.
So you're kind of doing like a niche product almost, where
Mhm.
it's like, well, there's too much within a bottle of perfume,
Mhm.
and yet there's not enough in the little, like those little containers, or there's too much, or even those little containers might be a little bit too much.
Yes.
But what if we
Mhm.
had like a variety pack of perfumes? So I have more options, but little amounts. And how do we package that in a way that's like really like cute and almost kind of like what's the perfume for today, and from your variety pack almost. Um, kind of like when it comes to like assorted chocolates, right? Like different chocolates for different like different flavors,
Mhm.
but you're doing like kind of like an assortment of perfumes, and it's a different scent for a different mood.
Mhm.
Does that accurately kind of describe it?
Yes.
Okay. So then in terms of the graphic that you're creating, um, then perfume palette. Oh, okay. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. And so if it's kind of like a perfume palette, then Vivian is creating what we call a Frankenstein, or a rough piece of art, to see if the art is going in that direction. And she has two concepts, one on the left and one on the right. And I feel, Vivian, that the one on the right is looking a lot more stronger than the one on the left. Can we zoom in on the one on the right and maybe
Sure.
break down really quickly how you created that artwork?
So this one, the one on the right, is based on my concept of nature, like as something planned and then floral and then more bold and cheerful. And the inspiration was on the top left. And I just kind of followed that style and put on the ingredient that possibly, like the scent of perfume that's possibly gonna go into the set. And I kind of just draw some of the elements.
So this is your illustrations, and then you brought it into Illustrator to kind of add color and what looks kind of like a brush, sort of like a watercolor like brush to it.
Right, right.
That's awesome. Um, and I do, and Ashley was making some comments like this concept I do like, and it's all Illustrator. If you were to select the vector artwork, on it there, it's, I would assume you have a lot of vector points happening in this design if you were to select it.
Right.
But I like it. I do like kind of like the rough, like art kind of quality, like that imperfect sort of edging, rough sketch, but at the same time you have it kind of filled in. Like it feels almost like imperfect, but it also has like a little bit of like emotion and character. It kind of has like a almost like a vibrancy to it, almost kind of like it was animated and then it kind of stopped, with all the rough edges. So I like that concept. And then for your font selection, there, I know that you were kind of playing off that sort of flow, that organic line that kind of flows similarly to some of the floral elements that you have there.
Right.
And are you set with that particular font, or do you
No,
feel like there's more opportunity to explore that the font option?
I'm definitely trying something new. That was just something like I was thinking about because the shapes are more organic. So I was just trying to write something that's like similar to the style. But I'm definitely looking into more fonts later on.
Yeah, I would definitely refer back to some of those font styles that you have in your conceptual direction there in the upper left.
Mm-hmm.
It might be a thick sort of script, or sort of like font. Maybe it's not as thin as this one, but maybe it's a slightly thicker. So I would even do like copy and paste and have like multiple versions of different fonts, and then we can compare all the different font styles side by side.
Okay.
I always like to compare. My memory only goes so far. If I change the font on the same like text, right? Um, so I always just do copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, and then I have like literally like a laundry list. Sometimes it's like a dozen different font selections. I go really nuts when it comes to fonts, but I always do like a comparison between the two to see where they're all at.
Mm.
Um, Yeah, I feel like this is moving. I think this is kind of moving in the right direction. And I think as a rough concept, it's going really well. And yeah, let's keep going with it and let's see what that looks like. I could even see like the palettes being like very kind of soft edges and things of that sort. Um, it's nice. I like where you're going on the concept overall. So well done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Mhm. And and Ashley, thank you for running some of the demos, or at least leading the discussions. I know there's probably a couple more. Were we able to do more than like two or three, or was it more like one or two, Ash, for the
Oh, we got
class?
like I think Vivian was like the third or fourth.
Awesome.
I think third.
Okay, so then on next class session, I know on Thursday, we'll have less time because we'll have Mr. Aaron Atchison coming in, unless he makes a change in the schedule or a last minute sort of change happens. So I'm actually going to look at my email right now before I make any declarations on anything, because I would hate to say he is coming and then he emails me like 20 minutes ago saying probably not. So far, we're good. So no cancellation. And we're looking good so far, guys. So yeah, everything's moving in the right direction. So we'll probably have a little bit less time. The first 30 minutes of class, I would say, will be kind of like any type of prep, any questions that maybe we want to prepare, maybe any type of quick questions or comments. So I always leave the first 30 minutes of class just to kind of get everyone in, connect. And sometimes if anyone's running late, you don't miss the presentation. And sometimes people are just coming home from work and things happen. So I totally get that. So that's why I always kind of start like a little bit later in the class sessions for our invites to come in. So we'll kick off at about 7, unless there's a change in schedule for Aaron. I'll let you guys know as soon as possible through the announcements. But it'll be a good session, and the guy is great when it comes to his talks and presentations. A couple of quick announcements, because I know I'm going a little bit over on time, so thank you guys for giving me a little bit of that extra time. I did add in our session on Canvas on both sides, and it's in the calendar, but I don't know if it pops up on your calendars or not, or if you actually have the calendar feature, but let me go ahead and just go to preview mode just to be on the safe side. Actually, it may not. Let's see. Do you guys have an actual calendar view by any chance on Canvas? Let me see. Go to student view and see if that does it.
I think we do because I forgot we had a spring break. I looked it up on there.
Ah, okay. So let's take a look. And so it is. Let's hope it's on student view, grades, wellness. Oh yeah, so there's like a little bit of a course calendar there. It's the reason I'm bringing it up is because I did put in like the course calendar discussion, t-shirt, streetwear. Oh, these are assignments.
I think it might be in the syllabus tab.
Oh, that's right. Well, what I was trying to do is just share a little bit of like some of Aaron's work. So I'll send it in the form of an attachment. I think it's added to my calendar. I think that's what it was, but not to the actual main calendar feed. So I want to see. Yeah, that's probably what it was. It was just basically an extra interview of Aaron, just talking a little bit about his experiences. So I got that also from the future. So I'll put that over into announcements, or a matter of fact, I'll put it into the chat, and then it could probably a little bit open at a later time. Yeah, it was in my calendar, not necessarily everybody else's calendar. So yeah, it was from mine and not in there. Shared content. And can I settings e-portfolios? Okay, I'll just put it in the chat there. But there is a couple of interviews with Aaron, and why is it not pulling it up? Here we go. Me. farm design and location. And I'll just share the link there. This is like an hour and 30-minute interview. It's if you want to get a little bit more feedback about Aaron and his kind of like his transition story, and you got a little bit of extra time, feel free to check out the link there. And it basically talks about him reinventing himself and starting up farm design. So, you know, he only has about an hour or so. This is about an hour and 30 minutes. It's more of a deep dive conversation. But if you're like, you know, where did this guy come from? Where did he start? What happened in 2008 that made him change the entire business? Why did he start from the ground up? It's a pretty like honest story about what happens when a recession can almost take out a business, or a solo entrepreneur, or solopreneur as it's called. I personally have been there. You know, it's probably one of the most scariest things when you're an independent designer, is like when a recession hits and you don't have like your financial situation in order, or a plan for recession. What do you do? And so he talks about like what he did and how he felt, and how literally, you know, he had to reinvent himself from the ground up and ask some pretty big questions. It's a lot of soul. It's a really heartfelt sort of like soul search, and you learn a lot in the first 30 minutes, to be honest. But I think it's a nice sort of a preview of who we're going to talk to, how deep this Aaron will talk a little bit about with his experience. And it's a nice prep for anyone that's learning more about him. Okay, so feel free to check that out if you have some free time. I'll shoot it over in the announcements for tomorrow if you want to take a peek at it. But I just wanted to just share that with you in case you wanted to know, like, hey, who's this guy? And is he worth the time? I personally think he is. And that interview will kind of open your eyes a little bit more. And if you watch it, maybe you can ask some questions in relation to some of the things that you may have seen from the video, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer that as well. Okay, so I will say to you guys, good job on the Mickey illustrations. So packaging designers, for you guys that had me last semester, this is the Mickey project, and I don't know about you guys, but this semester's class is doing pretty good. Fun times, right, Bradley? But they're doing good, guys. And I don't know about you, but I feel like this semester they're doing it great. And these are first runs or beginning stages. And you guys remember how time consuming it was. It had me last semester, but was it worth it? Hopefully it was. And hopefully this was a good exercise for you guys and helped you for this semester's class too. So definitely wanted to share that with you guys and get a little bit of that and say it out there. Yeah, I can't wait to see the t-shirts as well, Ash. So there's a lot of freedom in this exercise. So it'd be really cool to see what everyone creates and what they bring to the table. So it'll be really good. Okay. So proud of you guys. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thursday, I'm excited. Be ready. Bring those questions. We'll connect and just make sure everyone's doing good. And there's any last minute things and any last minute questions. We'll talk to Aaron. I think we'll have about an hour to 45 minutes after the interview's over to kind of connect again on our projects and set that up. Okay. Activity for packaging design. I'll actually extend the concept direction, Kalena. So thank you for bringing that up. So we'll change the due date on this so that we can extend it. I think we'll probably need another week on top of that to see all the conceptual directions, especially with Aaron coming in on Tuesday, or Thursday. So I'll make the modifications to the dates as well. Okay. I want to make sure I get a little bit of time with everybody to see where we're at. Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. Thank you so much for putting in the extra minutes. Definitely have a good night. We will see you on Thursday, and be safe while you're out there. Okay. Well, you guys are officially dismissed, and we'll see you on Thursday. All right. Take care.